Uhel Barrickman.
Welcome. This evening we'd be remiss if we didn't take note of the fact that this is the national birthday for Mr. King. He is known mostly these days for his right for equal rights for all races. I think he's being neglected in some respects. Equally, he fought for and believed in nonviolence and practiced it during his whole campaign. In addition, he wrote books about it, he made speeches about it, and was one of the first to object to the Vietnam War and advocated nonviolence among all peoples all over the world. Too bad, particularly in recent days, that his message didn't get to more people. But that leads us into the program which we have tonight. Our guest tonight to talk about a subject is Peggy Nims, the lady on my far left, who is the coordinator of the program, and I'll let her tell you what it is in a minute. And on my immediate left, the lady is Janet Lindsey. Peggy is the coordinator of the program we're going to talk about tonight, and Janet is the lead teacher in the program. The program is commonly known as the Clubhouse and deals with the middle school children of the Barron County Middle School and their parents. It is a very interesting program, and I'm going to ask Peggy to tell you more about it.
Thank you, Mr. Barrickman. The Clubhouse is actually part of what's known as a 21st Century Community Learning Center. And that is a federal program that really is designed to provide a safe, drug-free environment for our young people to be after school. And as you probably know, the hours from 2 to 8 are the most critical times for these young people. Those are the times that, more than likely, if they're unsupervised, they're going to be involved in some things perhaps they shouldn't be. And that's the time that violent crime among young teens actually triples during those hours. So the Clubhouse is really an after-school program that presently is offered on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 7.
At the Barron County Middle School.
Barron County Middle School. That's our site, kind of our home base.
Now, how many programs are like this and have been funded by the federal government in the United States?
Well, I think this program began probably about 1994. Actually, a senator, I believe, from New England actually proposed the bill. And we were in the second round of grants. And I think probably, it seems like maybe there are close to 2,000 schools that are actually involved with the 21st Century Learning Center. Now, we're one of only 10 in the state of Kentucky.
That was my next question.
That was your next question, right?
You anticipate me. Go ahead.
Okay. So we're very excited about that. And we're considered one of the rural centers. The others are kind of in the empowerment zones or maybe more the inner city areas, and also in eastern Kentucky.
In your judgment and based on your knowledge also, why was the Barron County Middle School chosen?
I think probably there are a lot of factors. There's a whole list of things that the folks who, I guess, I don't know, Janet's the word, judge a grant or read a grant that they're looking for. And of course there's a focus on academic. There's an academic component. I think probably one of the reasons, and Janet can help me out with this, that we might have been chosen is because we are a middle school. And they felt like if you could reach young people between the ages, the 6th and 8th grade, that was a very good time to impact their lives. And also, I think we have probably, in a rural setting, maybe transportation was an issue. We do take the students back to the elementary schools after the after-school program. And also, I think, too, Mr. Barrickman, one thing that I think is in our favor were the number of community partners that we have.
We'll
and so
get
they
into
saw
that shortly. I want to get into that a little,
he knows where he
later.
wants to go. I don't want to get there. Right. And I think they knew there was a lot of support for the grant in the Barron County community.
And I would assume particularly in the Barron County Board and the superintendent.
Yes, very much. Of course, the school board has to make a commitment to the program. Certainly, it is a $200,000 grant, but then the school is putting almost that back into the program, or at least more than half of that.
We're not neglecting you, Janet.
It's all right.
She just mentioned that, among other things, that is a part of the program is tutoring. Explain to us about that.
Well, the Clubhouse addresses learning. You know, of course, it's a learning community center. So one of the pieces in the grant was it's a transition place for kids, and also it extends their learning day. And I don't know about you, but every day I realize there's more things to learn, and so that gives us a little bit more time to help children who may need extra time to learn essential skills that will help them throughout their lifetime. So I think the Clubhouse does address those learning barriers and helping kids learn more, and not just for kids who, you know, may be having trouble in math or in science, but also to enrich their lives in the areas of arts and for recreational purposes, so they can learn how to bowl and keep score, and that's kind of exciting for them. And we're learning how to do kung fu and the martial arts and the discipline that takes, and we're learning about different cultures. Even as frontiersmen, we made baskets, and we're learning about the Indians in terms of culture with our Native American partner, Joe Bradford. So there's a lot of tutoring going on, but there's a lot of great learning going on too at the Clubhouse.
Are all students in the middle school eligible?
Yes, all of them are eligible. Well, Peggy does a good job of kind of marketing to our students and to our elementary centers, because we really want to make it a transition place for our elementary kids to come to the middle school. So we market in terms of special programs that we're offering for each student and their parents. And Peggy can probably do a better job of letting our kids know what's going on.
Well, it's for the sixth graders. A little bit of confusion sometimes with that, but
Right.
many middle schools are self-contained, and we have 6 feeder schools. So really, it's for the sixth graders as well, and then they are bused to the middle school, and then of course for the 7th and 8th graders. And then we actually have some students from the high school who are working with us in the after-school program.
So
it's kind of-
sixth graders are a part of the program.
Yes, sir, very much.
I
Very
was
important.
wondering about that because I knew as far as the middle school here in Glasgow was concerned, that is the Barron Middle School. You only had 2 grades.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And this past summer, Janet, of course, is our lead teacher, but also she had the lead in our first program, which was called the Summer Academy. And that involved really bringing the 6th graders to the middle school to get them better acquainted with the school, and they met their teachers. And we think it really went very well for them. Wasn't all strange for them.
I feel like I came into the Clubhouse through the back door, sort of, because I had been involved with the Summer Academy, and
Just tell the audience what the Summer Academy is.
well, it's an enrichment program for 6th graders who are coming into the middle school. And of course, the invitation is to all, and I think it's through some kind of selection process. I'm not sure how all that happens, but I think all students are eligible, and
The top, I think they chose
the
like the
gifted.
top
It's sort of
6
a-
students in
right.
each class, actually.
So we send letters out and we try to get them to come, and what we do during the Summer Academy is really enrich them in the areas of mathematics and in the science and reading and really it's a transition time for them to come and see the middle school and get to eat lunch in the middle school and see the media center, and we cook and we, like I said, do some math. We do the metric system. We learn a little algebra and graphing. This past summer we did some caving, which I thought was great. We, you know, in terms.
And this is all in the academy.
Right.
This is all in the academy.
Before you get to the clubhouse.
Well, it was sponsored by the clubhouse.
It was sponsored by the clubhouse.
Sponsored by the clubhouse this past year.
We weren't sure we were going to get to have it, and then because of the clubhouse and the grant, Peggy said, you know, that she would like for it to be incorporated within the clubhouse. So the academy is now a part of the clubhouse, and so we're really excited about that. And that's how I got to really work with Peggy and get more involved in the clubhouse and its activities.
How did the, I take it from what you've just said, that the academy preceded the clubhouse.
Yes, it did.
Now, and I think it'd be interesting, how come you had the academy? What brought that about?
Good question. It was a way for us to address some special needs. You know, sometimes we think that the only kids out there that need extra time to learn are the kids that are having trouble. And these are kids that are gifted in some areas, and so we extend and enrich their learning. And it gives them a chance to come to the middle school, and it's a safe place to be. You know, a lot of parents are working, and, you know, they don't really have the time to be at home with their kids. So
Whose idea was the academy?
it was a summer program through the Barron County School System.
Through the Barron County School System.
Correct.
Did it originate from the top down or from down up, if you know?
I'm not really sure about it, you know, top down, or I just know that I was very interested in working in that program, and sort of volunteered my services to teach. You know, was willing to teach during the summer in that kind of program, and so I'm just really excited about that activity for kids, you know, in terms of enriching their learning.
How many days, excuse me.
Oh, that's right.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say.
Anytime you've got an added comment, either one of you, that's fine.
Well, it just that the kind of learning they were doing in the academy, which kind of focuses on the hands-on and problem solving and projects, really that's kind of what we were looking for to incorporate in the after-school program, because they're going to give them a chance to apply what they're learning in the classroom. And the funding wasn't there to have the program again. So when these teachers came to me and said, this program really works, the students are making great strides because of this, then we said, well, this would be a great way for us to serve our students during the summer.
And what was interesting about it, as we mentioned earlier, with the 6 elementary feeder schools, it was a great way for kids to get to know each other, you know, in terms of getting to know the middle school group that they were going to be working in. Coming from 6 different elementaries, the 7th grade is sort of our transition grade, but that group of kids sort of were leaders within, you know, their schools, and they could say at that first day of school they knew where the media center was, and they know where the cafeteria is, they know where the tech ed room is, and they could, you know, really help us transition those other students and be leaders. You know, we're trying to develop some leadership skills whenever we can, so there's a real opportunity for that.
How successful were you in getting them to help others when they came?
I think very much.
Oh.
I think you can see it. I think it made a difference. And then a lot of the young people, or many of them who were in the clubhouse, the academy in the summer, are now on board in the fall semester in the clubhouse. And so that carried over as well. But I think it gave them a lot of confidence and a lot of ownership. You know, this is their school, you know, and they may have been coming from Park City or high school. And that's a big part of what the clubhouse is trying to do, you know, bringing all the students together from the different communities.
How many days a week does the clubhouse meet?
Well, now we're just meeting the 2 days. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we have one session from 3 to 5. And all the students come to the middle school, and everybody gets a break, a snack. And then we kind of scatter in all the different areas, because a lot of our things, our activities are actually off campus. Janet mentioned the basket weaving a few minutes ago. Did you bring your basket that you made?
My basket,
Okay.
yes.
You might want to mention that as just one of our off-site activities.
Yes, it's housed at the Museum of the Barons. We have a volunteer there, and they, welcome us in. And we, I think the materials are paid
There's a lot
for
of
by the
pictures.
Clubhouse.
I don't know if they can show these or not. He said. We've got some pictures of that.
But the children actually learned, the reason for the baskets, and then they get to do hands-on activities and make a basket. And I learned a whole lot too in terms of, keeping your reeds wet and paying attention to the instructor, so your basket looks like a basket when you get done. And it was really great fun.
A nice job was done on that. That's a nice basket, pretty basket.
The whole idea of the 21st Century Learning Centers, too, is for the schools to collaborate with the community. And to, the students are just learning within four walls. That's the whole concept of a school is really kind of changing. And you're really serving, the whole family and all the needs of the students. And I think that's kind of what we're doing, I think, with the Clubhouse. And you can see that we've even got parents in some of these pictures who are helping to make some of the baskets. This shows some of the enrichment activities. The Native American culture was a very popular program. We're going to repeat that this semester. They were actually learning the Blackfoot language, as well as making a lot of different necklaces and bracelets. Almost every night they would make something that they could take home with them.
And they're very proud of their creations too. Very, very proud of those.
Do you, by any chance, have any Native American Indian children in the school?
We don't. Well, now I say that, not at the middle school. It just so happens that in another educational setting, I worked with a Native American, and had
probably use him in this project.
Well, I'm trying to recruit folks whom I've met through my different experiences to see if they would come on board, and they seem to be willing to do that. So we actually do have someone who is Blackfoot who is working with us in the program.
I take it from the pictures that you just exhibited that are all of those off campus?
Well, now many of these, I try to divide these up. This is our enrichment board, and I hope this is kind of showing up on there. This is Joe Bradford, who is our instructor for the Native American culture. This, of course, is Kay Harbison at the Museum of the Barons. And we have a Japanese intern, so he's been involved with us. And here I think they're learning how to use chopsticks, which was kind of a fun thing to do.
Did you succeed?
Well, I kind of took the pictures. I didn't want to be embarrassed. I've tried that before.
How about you, Janet? Did you succeed?
I have not tried the chopsticks yet. That's an area I'll need to get into.
And music is of course, a lot of young people are interested in music and maybe haven't had the opportunity to have lessons or develop that talent, and that's what we're trying to do at the Clubhouse, to find those things that they really enjoy doing. So we had one of our high school students who actually came down and gave guitar lessons. We had cooking, which my husband said I need to sign up for every time they offer it.
I think that's during our summer academy.
Okay.
We made the best banana, I can't even think of what it was called, banana cream pie that you would just die for. It was really good. And the kids made it and they ate it. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's an excellent sign.
And then from what they told me later, they also went home and tried it on their parents.
Yes, they did. They cooked for Mom and Dad, so that was
So
great.
they learned, and then they went home and did that. It was kind of neat. We had a theater workshop that they actually came to the middle school, and this shows a few of the students involved in that. And then a lot of our chamber, the Glasgow Barron County Chamber of Businesses, have partnered with the schools for many years, and we had a very successful class in scrapbooking. I haven't really gotten into all the fine details of that, but that was something the parents and the students enjoyed. So most of the things you see on the board are things that actually occur at the school, Let me get the one that's more recreation. Let's see. My pictures will stay on this. This one shows a few of the things. You're on that side. I may let you kind of point out to them. You want to tell them a little bit about our bowling academy we had this summer, and this is one of the most popular programs, I think.
Yeah, the students actually, they watched a couple of videos to really learn, you know, the right approach to the bowling, and learned how to keep score, learned how to take turns and cheer each other on, kind of encourage each other. But they have really enjoyed the bowling, and it's carried on into our clubhouse for the fall and the spring activities.
Probably have over 30 students who are involved in that one program. And on Tuesday night, and
we have a league now, I think.
we do on Thursday, this shows Mr. Caldwell, who is at Highlander Bowl, and he does an instructional league or instructional program on Tuesday, and on Thursday they have their own league. So they're actually competing against each other. Of course, they have to learn how to use the computer to keep scores, and they're learning sportsmanship and all the etiquette and all that. So they have really thoroughly enjoyed that. Came up with their own team names. So that's kind of a neat thing, and you have to be there to be on the team. If you miss more than, I think, 3 times in the clubhouse, then you lose your spot in the league. So they know that attendance is very important.
Yeah, this is, I think, your tennis can.
We partnered with the U.S. Tennis Association, has partnered with a lot of 21st century learning centers, and actually this, you can tell from the pictures, we offered to students from the age of 5 through, through 6th grade. And so we did this on a Saturday at the Glasgow Recreation Department, and had parents as the coaches. And you didn't have to know how to play tennis, so that was a good part of it. And we had probably 40 to 50 young people from all the different elementary schools who were involved in that, and that was a clubhouse activity. And over here is some of the other things that they were doing. We had a soccer program in the fall, which we'll have again in the spring. I don't know, Janet, can you hold up one of the shirts? That's our logo. And for the clubhouse, Janet's shirt is the national logo for the 21st Century Learning Centers, and this is kind of the logo for Barron County Middle School's clubhouse.
Who came up with that?
Well, actually, Bill Walter from the Board of Education kind of came up with that with some ideas, inputs from our steering committee. We have a committee of parents and teachers and students who actually kind of guide the 21st Century Learning Center. And so the students seem to like it. As you can see, they wear their shirts, so I always think that's a good sign. And then Janet's shirt has on the national logo with the motto, "Soaring Beyond Expectations." And so we're trying to incorporate that into to all the different things that we do as well. I'll have to tell him about the button in a little bit because he'll probably get one. And then, let's see, Janet mentioned the Kung Fu, karate. Yeah. This is the karate
class. Then we have the Kung Fu. That's with the dragons.
Twin Dragons.
Twin Dragons.
And this is the American Academy of Martial Arts. And basketball. I didn't think about offering basketball at first because I thought everybody plays basketball. Why do you need to do that after school? But guess what? One of the most popular things that they want to do, basketball, because not everyone makes the team. So we had about 60 or 70 young people in a fall basketball league, and probably we'll have twice that many this spring. And I think at the end they get to play the teachers. So that's what they're all.
That's tough. We lost last year.
Working toward doing. So that just shows a few of the variety of different things that actually were going on. And this was, some of the young people came down, and we have a special parent night where we invite parents of anyone who's a parent in our community. And while the parents are in a kind of a workshop, then we take their young people and try to do something with them for an hour or so. So they were all kind of learning a few of the kicks and things for karate, which they thought that was a lot of fun.
How often do you usually have Parents' Night?
Well, we have 2 different parenting programs right now. On Thursday night, we have what's called Parent Talk. And that's kind of an informal hour or so where parents can bring up any issues that they would like to discuss. And our facilitator is a professor at Western Kentucky University, and he's a certified marriage and family therapist. So I have some good folks leading the programs. Then every fourth Thursday
How long
night.
does the program last?
Most of the things that are with the parents we do after dinner, so they would last from 5:30 to 7.
Or longer, I guess, if things were going well.
That's fine, as long as they're not riding the bus and the bus leaves about 7:05 or 7:10, they're okay. And
In other words, the parents ride the buses.
well, we haven't. I think they could probably. Right now, what's happening? The parents are meeting their students at the middle school when we have parent night, and they're coming, from all over and meeting there for dinner. So you can come and have dinner.
Who fixes the dinner?
Well, not me.
Peggy needs to attend the cooking class. She doesn't cook.
No. We actually, our food service department does a super job, and
Yes.
one night a week we have fast food night, and that's a real popular night where you get the tacos and the pizza and that kind of good stuff. So we usually have more people eating, I think, sometimes when we do that. So.
Well, I'm gathering from what you say that the whole school system is involved in
Yes.
this, in the
Yes,
final
sir.
analysis.
Absolutely. For any program to work, but particularly this one that's such a partnership, you've got to have support from all over your school system. Our staff at the middle school, our teachers, our elementary schools, everyone's involved in it. And then a lot of staff are kind of getting out of their normal role and doing something different. For example, one of our custodians actually goes with us to Kung Fu. So in the afternoon, he takes on a kind of a different role, and that's worked out really well. And he's even learning a few things and kind of working out with the students, and that's a lot of fun.
When off campus and the bus transports them, is that a part of the regular bus service, or do you have to contribute to that from the grant?
That's part of our grant.
That's part of your grant?
Yes, sir. We have actually a Clubhouse bus
Oh.
and a bus driver who actually works with us. And hopefully, as we grow, we'll probably need maybe 2 buses, at least. There have been a couple of times that we've needed 2 buses. Because you have maybe 60 students going off campus to the bowling and karate, kung fu, the YMCA, museum, and then you might have another 50 or 60 still at the school. So we have a large population. We hope that's going to maybe be up to around 200. That's our goal for the fall.
Well, how many students are normally now? I'm not talking about your hope.
Our hope. Well,
But how many are normally there now?
okay, normally now, I think on an average night, we would have between students probably 110 to 120, which is a good number.
Yeah.
And then we have fed probably up to 140 one night. We had parents come in. And I don't know about you, if I had 140 folks coming for dinner, that would be quite a big deal to kind of make sure you had enough food to go around.
How many parents are usually involved, Janet, on parent nights?
Well, I'm usually gone by the time the parents get there. I usually try to head home. Being at school from 7:15 until 4:30, sometimes I don't get back to campus till 5.
After 5.
I'm ready to go home.
I can understand
And
that.
so I'm usually leaving when parents are coming in for the parent part of the activity. So probably I need to turn that over to Miss Peggy to answer that. But what I would like to say, that I think it's great that parents are utilizing the Clubhouse in terms of, learning and helping them become better parents or doing activities with their children. And I think, we're seeing that happen.
It varies. On parent night, when we have the special event, I think we've probably averaged, I want to guess, 20 to 25 parents. And I think that's a good start. That's a good place to start building. And hopefully, we're kind of bringing on our youth service centers and our family resource centers, our partners in this. And they're, of course, our connection to a lot of our families. And so we're kind of working with them to host the different events. And then we want to do topics, that are of interest to parents, and that's important.
Do the children of the parents also attend the night, or they are not?
Yes, sir, because you have families that your 6th grader may be in the clubhouse, but what do you do with your 2nd grader? So we welcome the parents to bring the family, and last semester we had a babysitting certification class, and it was on a parent night. So we had the young people then got to actually practice their babysitting skills that they'd been learning in class. So we had someone who was supervising the children while their parents, were involved in an activity.
I think that was very good planning, Peggy, to do that.
You get
If I can remember doing
many
it.
of them that became certified?
We did. We had so many young people interested in that we had to offer a second course. So they have to take a test at the end, and I was very impressed with them.
It speaks well to the program.
It does. It really does.
Now, she obviously has got duties other than the clubhouse.
Right.
Do you?
Well, it's pretty much a full-time job, trying to recruit students and recruit instructors and come up with a schedule and work with the busing and feeding them. And right now we're getting the spring started, but we're already thinking about what we're going to do for the summer.
Right.
And then Janet and I have been to some training for the 21st Century Learning Centers and had the opportunity to meet our colleagues from, well, probably there were about 500 at the last conference. And so that's something we do a couple of times a year. And
Where's the conference held?
it was held in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. We're in the East region. They don't know where to put Kentucky. So we are grouped with Maryland, Pennsylvania, who else? Virginia, West Virginia, New Jersey. It was real interesting. But I think Tennessee is also in our group. And the next meeting is going to be in March, but it's going to be held in Kentucky. So we're excited that it's going to be on our home turf. But it's a good opportunity to find out what other centers are doing. And most of the other 21st century learning centers in Kentucky are like us. They were in the second round of grants, so they've been serving students less than a year. And I think there's one brand new center that hasn't quite opened yet. So yes, it is very much a full-time job.
And how long is the grant for?
The grant was originally for 3 years, and then we hope to keep that going afterwards. Recently, Congress did appropriate more funds. Each year it seems like there's been a little more funding for the centers. And then, of course, we think it's going to really help our young people, and if it's going to help the young people, pretty much we're for that. So we would like to see this continue long past the 3 years.
And based on centers in other parts of the country that maybe have already been there 3 years, are they renewing those grants?
Yes, sir, some of them have. There's one in Kentucky in Clinton County. They just finished their 3-year cycle, and their grant was renewed for another 3 years. So there is that possibility. Many centers have corporate sponsors, or they have businesses that are maybe offer scholarships for students. A lot of the centers maybe have instructors who volunteer. So there are a lot of different ways. So that is something that we're looking at, is how are we going to sustain this program once we get it up and running. We don't want to drop it. We want to keep it going and keep it building and getting better. Because the students are going to be there, and they're going to need that safe place to go after school. And that's what we're trying to do.
In the material which you furnished me, I guess you're observing, I pay no attention to it.
That's okay.
But in the material that you furnished me, you had a list of, I believe you call them partners.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Explain that, one of you, whoever wants to take it on.
Well, when the grant, I think it got kind of passed to me, when the grant was written, and you asked me that question earlier, why did we think Barron County received a grant? They had to bring on community partners, either agencies or nonprofit groups who were interested in helping to provide the after-school services. And I think originally there were 12 to 15 partners. many of whom are still on board. But then, since I've been working with the program, I've been going out and we surveyed the students and kind of asked them, you know, what could we do, you know, after the bell rings at 2:56 or whatever, that you would really like to do after school? What's something new that you would like to learn maybe? And we got a whole list of things. And I was impressed that it wasn't just all fun stuff, you know, or a lot of teaching. They wanted to do Spanish, or they wanted to do first aid or babysitting. It wasn't all skydiving and stuff like that. So you have to go out and find partners in your community, unless you're a Renaissance person and can do all those things, to come into your school to help you to do this. And so those are kind of our collaborative partners. And right now we have probably, I would say, 40 to 45 different partners. A lot of those are businesses. A lot of them are folks like Big Brothers and Big Sisters, the YMCA, who are just, we're all working together to really serve our young people and our families and our community. And that's what makes Barron County and Glasgow special.
To be a partner, I take it that they have to contribute something to the program, or at least one of the reasons they are made a partner is to have personnel that can contribute if they're needed.
True. And also they just, if someone just, I mean, a partner could be someone that, say, was into model airplanes, for example, and they like building planes and racing them or something.
And they could still contribute.
They can contribute. They could call me at the middle school and say, I have this hobby that I like to share with these young people, and then we provide them a facility and a group of young people. And then, of course, we would buy the materials. And so it's just if you've got an interest or a talent that you want to share, it's not like you have to have a swimming pool or something like the Y that we're going to go to your facility. So lots of different levels of partnership, I guess is a good way to put it.
I think those partners can help to sustain our program, you know, in case funding, you know, is diminished through the federal government. We hope that this community learning center is valued by those partners and will help sustain it, you know, whether there's money or not, in terms of breaking down barriers, that school is not just in these four walls, but school, I mean, learning can occur outside that building. And it's great to see these people who are willing to invest in these young people. I think that says well of our community.
Many of them. And a lot of folks are doing this already. You know, maybe their business was, say, you know, involved teaching or a school partner. And you and I have spoken earlier about the Chamber's PIE partnerships, the Partners in Excellence, which I think is now in its 6th year. So that really gave us a foundation that many of the other communities didn't have. So when Janet and I do go to these national trainings, some of the other learning centers are just amazed at the number of partners that we do have, you know, people who are interested in working with the students and invest that time, you know, to really help someone to grow.
Is there any possibility that it could be expanded to include the Glasgow system?
I think that's kind of up to each school system. You know, we had a call the other day from someone in another county who wanted to know about applying for 21st Century Learning Center grant. Of course, our parenting and adult programs, they're all offered to anyone. You don't have to have a student in Barron County Middle School to come to the Learning Center.
Any parent can?
Any parent, any community person who wants to learn
and if they
computers.
If they have children that are in another district, can they bring them with them?
They could bring their children as far as, say, like it was a parenting event.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That would be fine. But as far as, you know, some of the bowling and some of those things, those are designed for the Barron County students because our school is investing, you know, in the grant, partner in the grant. So I really, you know, I think a lot of people maybe are just finding out about the learning centers and what all that involves, and maybe it is a new idea in Kentucky, I'm not sure. I do know that, you know, Barron County Middle School was one of the first schools to apply, and we didn't get the grant the first time around, but persistence does pay off, So they reapplied, and then we're in the second round of grants. So I would encourage any school who is interested, you know, if they would like the information, they can just call us, and we'd be glad to share that with them. They have a website.
I think out of Kentucky Reform, though, this is a natural thing to occur because, you know, one of the things that they try to, or we try to work toward is more parent involvement in our schools and extending the school day so that kids have more time to learn, keeping them safe. You know, that's a big issue, I think, nowadays, is having a place for kids to go to whose parents may be working. And, you know, it's not always the best thing for a kid to go home to an empty house and watch TV all day, you know, or the rest of the day. So it's a natural thing out of the Reform Act to offer this community learning center. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm still learning more and more about it, but I'm happy to be involved with it.
Now, you get extra pay for your extra work, or are you strictly a volunteer?
Well, in the summer, I do get paid. I do get paid for teaching, and if Peggy has money, she tries to pay me for my time after school. So yes, I am reimbursed in some way. But you know, it's like I shared with her and with the steering committee. I know it's what's good for kids because yes, I'm very tired when 3 o'clock comes and I'm loading the bus with those kids and. But it's I don't know, it's just really, it's time well valued with them. For me, I'm learning. I learned how to make a basket. It's good time with the kids too, you know, and they see me out of the classroom, and that's kind of good. I make a connection with them too. And so, yeah, I do get reimbursed in lots of different ways.
How many classes do you have in the school?
That I teach?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I have, I teach 6 classes during the day. Math classes.
Math classes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, next question. Are the students as bad in math when you get them as they report in the public?
Well, I don't. No. I think our math scores are pretty good at the middle school. Yes, there are.
I didn't ask you about when they got through. I asked you when they reported.
Well, when I get done with them, they're pretty good math students.
Well, I don't. Just hearing you talk and your interest in young people and so forth, I don't doubt that. But my question was, when you get them.
When I get them in 8th grade, they've already been at the middle school for a year, so, you know, I think
you don't get them in the 7th.
No, I do not, and so I really can't speak to that. I think the 6 elementary schools, you know, are doing their best to feed to us the best students that they can, and when I get them in the 8th grade, they're doing fine. And we're trying to address, you know, some algebra and some pre-algebra and some geometry and overall just good 8th grade mathematics, so that they're good problem solvers, and they can, you know, get to high school and do well, we hope.
Again, on the subject of math, is it essentially as it used to be, although not entirely? After all, it's been a long time since I was in grade school, many
many years ago.
But is it mostly formulas, or do you have written problems?
It's more real world. Yes, I still teach formulas, but see, I think algebra is the language that they need to learn, and they're going to use those formulas in science, and, you know, when they cook, you know, in terms of being a problem solver, we try to connect that to things that I know they're going to have to deal with if they're going to go into construction or if they're, you know,
well, I agree with you there, but you give them a written problem involving these formulas and for solutions of problems, that's a means of finding out what they have learned.
Right.
Do you have those?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's part. I mean, we use those in terms of assessment to make sure they can apply that knowledge at a higher level, definitely. Definitely. So.
You read a lot about education these days, but you don't get a whole lot of particulars, is the reason I was asking you about particulars.
Well, I think that it was a national trend too, and I think that's the need that they saw too.
With the 21st century learning centers and just the idea of preparing students for the 21st century, was the fact that there were students who need, a lot of us, need help in math or science or reading.
Particularly math and science and writing.
Mm-hmm. And writing.
And the grant really addressed some,
issues
Scores.
in terms of
Mm-hmm.
science. But science scores are low throughout the whole state, and so the clubhouse, one of the objectives of the clubhouse is to, help students do better in the areas of science and reading.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think science is a natural integration of mathematics. So,
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
So we try to incorporate that and break down those barriers and find out what kids need to do better in those areas, and we try to address those. And Mammoth Cave, I think, does a good job of integrating the science curriculum too, in terms of hands-on activities for kids to do.
Do you have any discipline problems?
Well, you bring over 100 middle school young teenagers together, you may have some problems, but not any major problems, I don't think. Because it's a privilege, I think, to participate in the clubhouse. And I think most of the students know that.
And they're there because they want to be. I think that cuts down on, your problems too. Discipline is part of education, and you can't have education without it. So we maintain a pretty tight ship, try to anyway.
Of course, the schools as well as the communities are having problems with discipline. Seems to be more with high school these days. I don't know about that though. Mm-hmm. Every time you turn around, you read something about some middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, safety is an issue, I think.
It is.
Child.
Very much an issue, and that's another, I think, reason that you saw this whole idea of the 21st Century Learning Centers was the idea of, children don't feel safe in their neighborhoods or even in their own homes anymore. And we try to take, I think, some reasonable steps to ensure their safety. I mean, it's when you're trying to keep a school open past hours. It gets pretty dark out in the parking lot. So we're fortunate that our Barron County Sheriff's Department and the Glasgow City Police Department are very nearby, and they are also both partners in the Learning Center.
Okay.
But certainly that is something that we do, keep in the front of our thinking, is to keep these young people safe at all times.
I realize that there aren't nearly as many African American students in the Barron County system, but are they those who are they participating in the program?
yes, you can.
Kind of look at some of the pictures and you can see that. Certainly, we try to encourage any student. As a matter of fact, one of our better bowlers, I think, was someone maybe who had not bowled before, maybe didn't know that she had that, interest until she had come to the clubhouse. And then our staff in the evening is rather diversified. Not only Native American and Japanese, but we're teaching Spanish, and that helps. We have a new student who does not speak any English.
Oh.
So for us to be teaching staff and students how to speak Spanish is very helpful in today's school setting. And then we do have, I have two African American staff in the evenings. And so we're real excited about that. As a matter of fact, our staff in the evenings, several of them are from Western Kentucky University, and they're teachers in training. So they're kind of getting an on-the-job training, or kind of a feeling for what it's like to discipline a large group of students. And many of them are working with tutoring, and we offer homework help too. We don't like to send students home at 7 o'clock with their homework unfinished. So a young person can come to the clubhouse and be involved in an activity, eat dinner, and then work on their homework until 7. And so we're very grateful to have our Western Kentucky University students very much a part of what we're doing.
As you say, when you have homework, Is that volunteers that want it, or does that include the whole group?
It's anyone in the group. Sometimes, say, if I've signed up for Native American after dinner, but what if I've got all this homework to do for tomorrow? And probably it's not a real good idea for me to go to maybe my class and not get my homework finished.
And I think teachers can also help Peggy, recognize students who might need, extra time. And maybe they went bowling, but after dinner, we may say, Peggy, we've got a student that really needs to have a one-on-one, for help, and so she can assign a tutor.
Suggested, or how do you handle that? That could be a problem.
Well, rate cards went out a few weeks ago. We've had several calls from parents who are looking for tutors. So, we try to encourage the parents that probably 4 hours of tutoring is a little bit much. I mean, that the students need a break. So we have referrals from parents, referrals from teachers, and pretty much those young people know that if they've been referred, then they need to show up with their books and their pencils and be ready to get some work done. So it's volunteer, but some of it's a little bit, they really need to be there, and they know that.
Yeah, they know that. I think,
and
again, it's helping
better.
them become successful, and giving them that extra help and time that they may need, and we try to make it a positive time for them.
Well, you're emphasizing there that something I think, in my personal opinion, shouldn't be get into the end of this, but I think is most important, and that is people have got the desire to do something, and they have to learn discipline. And unfortunately, I think that there's too many people today that aren't requiring discipline early, before they ever get to school. And you're trying to correct some of those problems, I'm sure.
Well, we are.
And that's what education is all about. But I think that's kind of a part of anything that we do. Janet mentioned the bowling. Well, you have to have discipline in anything. I mean, if you're going to succeed in any activity. And so that is something that we are trying to instill in these young people, and responsibility, for their actions, dependability, and just the whole idea of becoming a mature young person.
Well, if a student or a child growing up knows what is expected of him or her, they are pretty apt to do it. But if you don't give them anything that you want them to do, and they don't expect certain things from you, they're going to ignore a lot of things, in my judgment. On the basis of gender, you have more boys or more girls?
That would be a difficult question.
I don't know. It's surprising that in some of the things we have more girls that you would think we might have boys. I would think, I don't know, do you think it's pretty much even? That's kind of a hard question.
Yeah, that is a hard question.
Seems like it's about.
What's the school population? Maybe a few more girls, I'm thinking.
I'm not sure. You may have stumped us on that question.
But in the Kung Fu, we have more girls. The girls are enjoying the Kung Fu. And maybe you have more young men who are in the bowling.
Yeah, I think so. I know the guitar lessons, that seems to be, I don't know. In soccer, we had girls playing soccer.
Girls and boys,
we
right.
had girls and boys
Co-ed.
playing soccer. In the basket weaving, I had boys and girls doing basket weaving, and I don't know. We'll have to do some research on that.
I think it might be interesting.
Yeah,
It would be.
Again, as between them, is it easier to get the interest of one gender or the other? It's another hard question.
Well, I think when you survey the students,
You try to maybe take that into consideration, that we can't offer everything, in any one given time. And so I think that's why we try to keep the Clubhouse programs to say 6 weeks in length, and then maybe the next 6 weeks you could choose something else, and maybe that way you're able to offer enough activities that would appeal to both the young men and the young women. But these days, you know, pretty much they all like computers, and the guys like to learn to cook as well as the girls, and the crafts. You know, the young men sometimes enjoy that or do as good a job as the young women, I think.
I think the intramural program serves both of them.
Both, right. We do have intramural basketball for boys and girls. But the only thing we haven't had a young man in is wreath making. I don't think we had any young men in that class. But I think even the babysitting, we had a young man in the babysitting program.
That's good.
And well, I think he said maybe he had younger siblings. I'm not sure, but he did fess up and say, "Mrs. Nims, I'm here because my mother said I would be here." So I said, "Well, that's okay. I understand." Getting back just a little bit, backtrack to the discipline idea. Something we have at Barron County Middle School is called peer mediation. And of course, Janet has been at the school longer, and she can maybe talk about how successful that may or may not be. But that's something we're going to have available to us in the after-school program. So if you do have a problem that arises, say, between two young people, or even a group of young people, then you actually have other middle school students who can sit down with them and help them to resolve, you know, that conflict. And of course, that's another thing that we're wanting to do with the after-school program is give them those skills so that they maybe choose a non-violent solution to their problem. And I think that's going to really help us as far as we grow and have more and more young people.
And it's
the potential is there.
Because I think that it's in place in some of the elementary schools, but these are students who are trained to be mediators, and they know how to sit down with another student and help these two. They're sort of the mediator, and they help them talk to each other and try to dissolve any kind of conflict that may be going on. So, and it works. It really does.
One final question. We're getting about out of time here. Do you have any trouble of certain groups clannish?
Really not in the after-school program, I don't think. Of course, that was part of the School to Watch. I think one reason that Barron County Middle School received the School to Watch designation was the fact that they felt like there weren't cliques or there was equity among our students. So, if you see anything that maybe an 8th grader and a 6th grader, there's a little bit of developmental difference there, but I don't think we're trying to break down those barriers, and maybe, that's kind of helping to do that.
I remember, and I hear about it now some, when you get to the high school level, usually the sophomores look down on the freshmen. And there's a certain amount of resentment engineered on the part of the freshmen, which is natural. I didn't know whether you had any of that in middle school now or not.
Well, I think that's the transition. I think doing programs like this helps them, and then the 8th graders kind of maybe become more of a mentor to the 6th graders coming in, and that's what I think that eases that transition.
Ladies, I appreciate your agreeing to be a part of this program. We've covered a lot of material. It's an interesting program, undoubtedly a very beneficial program. Thanks again, and the best of luck to each of them.
Well, thank you very much.